Hey, welcome everyone to this episode of B2B Marketers on a Mission. This is the show where we help you to question the conventional, think differently, disrupt your industry, and take your marketing to new heights. This is your host, Christian Klepp, and today I'm joined by someone on a mission to provide innovative solutions to businesses around the world to help them run their in-person, virtual, and hybrid events. So coming to us from Oakville, Canada, Mr. Mohammed Younas. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for having me today on the show.
A pleasure to have you on, and let's dive in because this is really going to be an interesting and relevant topic for B2B marketers out there. So you're clearly no stranger to the events industry. In fact, your company vFairs has experienced phenomenal growth in the past few years. But for this conversation, let's focus on the following topic, which is events as part of your B2B marketing strategy. So talk to us about why you believe events are such an important component in B2B marketing.
Yeah, see, I think the great thing about events is just the focus that it brings in for anyone who's participating in one, right? So again, I'll just give you my own example. I'm a pretty busy guy, having back-to-back meetings throughout the day. But when I would go ahead and I would attend a particular event, I really, you have to make an effort to be there. And when you are there, you make an effort to go through everything, whether it's through the content that that particular conference has to offer, the network opportunities that that particular conference has to offer. So the way we have seen is that customers who are running the conferences where they are able to bring in attendees that are of like-minded people, you can really make the best use of it, in the form of the content that they're going to consume and in the form of just networking opportunities that they're going to get. And in today's world, that is becoming, I think, just more and more remote by nature, whether it's a virtual conference or an in-person one. I think you want to form those communities, and the best way to form communities is through events. And again, we have just seen that our customer base have over the past, I think, just a couple of years has really mastered it and have seen just tons of opportunities to, again, meet with existing customers as well as just connect with prospects through any of these type of conferences.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly interesting. And I mean, part of the reason, I suppose, why your company has experienced growth is because the world has changed, short of stating the obvious, right?
Absolutely.
The way that customers have behave have changed, the way that they consume content has changed, the way they make buying decisions has changed. So it's a combination of all of these. But I bring that up because it's such a great segue into the next question, which I'm sure you will have no problem answering. Talk to us about the mistakes and misconceptions you've seen when it comes to incorporating events into the marketing mix, and what should be done to address these?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing with any event is that it needs to be fully aligned with the overall business objectives. Like, why are you even running that event to begin with? So for me, I think just some of the mistakes and misconceptions start with just failing to align with the overall business objectives. Many business events just as a standalone marketing activity, they sometimes fail to align with what the overall business objectives are. So I always try to tell our customers is that, okay, let us just first discuss what your overall KPIs are, what your overall business objectives are, what your company OKRs are, and then let's plan for an event that really align well with that goal. So failing to align events with overall business objective, I just see that as just a mistake that once in a while some of the event planners just go through. And the other one is, again, I think in today's world, when everyone's attention is you're trying to grab everyone's attention, just over reliance on traditional event formats. I've seen that sometimes it does not work well. We all have to be a bit more innovative. We all have to be a bit more agile. And we have to see like what exactly our attendees are looking for now. So, for example, maybe 5 years back, a conference can purely be just one way. You come and you consume content, and that would have been okay because people were not, let's say, short of networking opportunities at work, at a lot of other places. But nowadays, in many ways, any event is both about content. Great content will drive attendance, but it's also just one of the only few days or weeks when people might get those networking opportunities because some of those people might be working from home and they are just, just really kind of, they are they're struggling with having those business-related networking opportunities otherwise. So I think just don't rely on traditional event formats. Just be creative and see what works now. The third one I would say is that just lack of integration with other marketing channels. I have seen that just people they might just have few channels that they really mastered pre-pandemic, and it would have been maybe I will do a press release, maybe I will send out an email blast and so forth. But now with social media and email marketing and LinkedIn and TikTok, etc., you need to make sure that you are using all the different channels to really market your event. Don't limit yourself to just only few mediums that you historically have been used of. And the last one is just failing to measure and analyze event performance. So many businesses, I feel that they fail to measure, analyze performance of events, making it very difficult to assess the ROI and identify the areas of improvement. And again, this can result in wasteful resources and missed opportunities for future events. And hence, I am of the opinion that make use of the event tech, make use of the technology that's available now for both in-person events and virtual events that allows you to measure and analyze event performance at all times. And I just feel that not doing that would be a mistake. Which historically speaking, people were events industry in general were not very much tech friendly. Again, 5 years back, 7 years back. But after the pandemic, everyone is used to tech, and everyone now should make use of that to again properly track the event performance.
Absolutely. Those are some really great points. Thanks for sharing those. I'd like to go back to two things that you mentioned and dig a little bit deeper, if I may. So I think that you mentioned one point about lack of integration of the different channels, and we all know, and you pointed it out in the past couple of minutes, about embracing the digital aspect of events. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that? Like, what are the differences that you've seen, like pre and post pandemic?
Sure. So the way I see it is that events industry have seen these three these three different, I would say, eras. Pre-pandemic, mostly all of the events were in person. Mostly, even though we have been doing virtual events for almost 6-7 years, but I would say like 99% of the conferences still used to happen purely in person. So that was pre-pandemic. During pandemic, almost the same 99% of the events were purely virtual, right? Now, late 2022, 2023 onwards, it is a mixture of both. There are some virtual because there are some types of conferences that are just well suited for virtual ones to begin with. For example, we work with tons of universities where previously hundreds and thousands of employers used to go and attend job fairs in person with these universities. Now, job fairs in general, whether it's with universities or of a particular city, etc., have gone virtually. Most of the people are hiring virtually. Most of the people do work remotely. And hence, as a result of that, that particular segment has gone just virtually. Conferences, again, there's a dearth of demand where a lot of people want to go back in person. They want to meet their members and they want to meet. So those conferences have gone back in person. Having said that, we see continuously that the attendance level for these conferences is not the same, So unless the conference is of the nature where, again, it's happening where the attendance is mainly locally, which really happens. Most of the attendance for any decent sized conference is at least, from the country or from regionally, if not internationally, right? So each one of these conference providers are doing some sort of a virtual piece of it. So again, we're seeing that as just a continuous trend where in-person events are using technology, but most of them are also having a virtual piece of it because they realize that a decent amount of their attendees might not be able to travel because of they're no longer in that city or country, they're working from home, and home can be anywhere. It can be in the country, it can be outside the country. B, also the cost of travel and accommodation has gone up significantly. It has been, it's up by more than 100% for many international travelers, right? So for them to justify that cost, sometimes it's just not there.
No, absolutely. And I mean, for us here in Canada, especially in Toronto, let's not forget about the horror stories we heard about the flight delays. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and again, and trust me, it happens. Even though it happens a lot in Canada, But it happens even more in the US.
Yes.
So again, I attend tons of conferences in the US, and you realize that you have a connecting flight, and that connecting flight, it kind of, it was 1 hour late, and then you have missed all of your connecting flights, and you're stuck there for a day.
You're stuck. Absolutely. Well, so God bless all those people that need to travel a lot like you.
Exactly.
Right. Talk to us about a challenge, and I know that there are many, but talk to us about one that you helped the client to solve in the past 12 months.
So I think I can maybe quickly tell two, because they are just for different use cases. So I think one of our customers, just recent customers, is American Educational Research Association. So they run one of the biggest conferences out there in the US, and just again, they were facing a similar challenge where a couple of years back they were doing a virtual conference, maybe with a certain provider. It didn't go well. 2 years later, they realized that, of course, they want to do an in-person conference, but they want to make sure that they are using a much more stable technology provider. So we worked with them just again last month in April. Their big conference was in Chicago, thousands of attendees, and this time they wanted to use, again, historically speaking, what would have happened is that you have these 1,600 to 2,000 people coming, and historically speaking, what would have been is that their conferences have almost 650 plus sessions. 650 plus sessions. Trying to print the agenda of that would have meant that you would have had, I know, like almost one big full auditorium room of just the agenda, because it would have been a booklet printing 650 pages, and then for those attendees to carry on those 650 pages all around the different conferences, right? So again, they make use of our just mobile app. The entire conference agenda is on the mobile app. People can create their own agenda, which sessions they're going to attend, where exactly those sessions are happening. Is it happening in this hotel, this room, versus another hotel, another room? And just a very seamless experience. Now, again, those of you who don't know about this conference, it happens in almost 6 to 7 different hotels, right? So many times what would have happened is that by the time you go from one session to the other that you want to attend, in that session, you might not have enough seats for you to even sit. But now, just because the technology is there, the same session is now streamed live on the mobile app. So even if you're not getting a seat over there, you can actually access it through your mobile phone on the go. You can see who are the other people who are attending that particular event, so you can book meetings with them. You can go ahead and also go ahead and have appointments booked with the event organizers and so forth. So just, again, just the use of technology allowed them to be a lot more efficient. That's one piece of it, which is, again, a couple of thousand people are there attending the event. But more important than that, just today, as we are having this particular podcast recorded, their virtual conference is happening. So 2 weeks earlier, they did an in-person event. Almost a couple of thousand people attended there in Chicago. But now today, almost twice of that, almost 4,000 to 5,000 people, if not more, are attending the same conference virtually. So again, historically speaking, it would have been only in person. Then it went purely virtual. But now they're making use of technology to, again, go to a much bigger audience, having a far bigger reach at a much lower cost, and just having a great time with all of their members. That's one. We also work with Tulare County Office of Education. So this is, again, part of the government of California. And what those of you who are new to this topic, but there's a huge teachers shortage in California. And it's very hard to find teachers in California. So again, what they are doing is that they're doing virtual job fairs using our technology, which is trying to connect districts with teachers across the country who want to become teacher and have an employment in California. And they have been doing that. They started with one, but now they almost run a dozen of them in a year. And even those are becoming less for them to fulfill the overall teachers shortage that's happening in California. And they're also doing in-person events, which is, again, trying to connect with a local district, a local, kind of a school or college who want to hire teachers, and just making use of our technology to help connect teachers with these districts. So just, again, 2 of those examples, have hundreds of those on our website. But for the audience, I think just these would be good enough.
Yeah. No, more than good enough, I would say. Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing those. No, a couple of things that I heard you say, and I think these are incredible. with all this technology, or because of technology, it's opened the doors to new opportunities that I would even say pre-pandemic might have already been there, but not at this scale, right? So, for example, the virtual events. So, in terms of like definitely bigger coverage, it gives guests that are unable to attend the in-person events an opportunity to attend, so they can actually scale this, right?
Yeah.
And that's incredible. And I think the one that you mentioned with the sessions being held in different hotels, and how that in person would have been such a logistics nightmare, and how that became a little bit more seamless with the app and with the platform and with this technology. I mean, it's incredible just thinking about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
No, again, I see the great thing about just that conference itself was, as people figured it out, and they were there in the conference, people were just, they were on Twitter, they were saying, oh, by the way, just having a great time attending this conference. Kudos to whoever found vFairs to, again, put all of those conference topics and the agenda and everything as on the mobile app. So again, the audience was, again, mesmerized of how technology can make, again, a really complex event. It's a huge conference, not an easy one, but just again, seamless when you use the technology to help solve those problems.
Well, and it's also a question of customer experience and understanding the journey that these attendees go through, right? And
absolutely
looking at it from their perspective, and how can we improve that? And that's clearly what your platform provides, which is great.
Thank you.
Going on to the next question, and I think this is a critical one. What role do you think conducting research and having the right strategy have in organizing and implementing successful B2B events?
I think, research and just the right strategy is critical, I would say, to organizing and implementing any successful B2B event. I think for me, research starts just first of all identifying the right target audience. Just understanding the target audience is critical for successful event planning. And research will always help you identify the needs, the preferences, and the pain points of the target audience. So for me, that's always a key. Unless you really do that, you don't know what you're trying to solve. And for me, and who you're trying to solve, right? So who you're trying to solve, finding out the target audience, what they really care about it, what their needs are, what their preferences are, what their pain points are, is for me the key. Once you have done that, then again, through research and having the right strategy, you need to identify just the right format and the right content for that B2B event as well. What exactly that particular target audience cares for. Is it the content? And if yes, what should be the nature of that content? What should be the format of that content? Is it more of one way, which is, someone is giving a lecture and they're just consuming that, or it is more of interactive, where, again, it's more of a roundtable discussion or a panel discussion. So those things are important. And just again, a strategy to ensure that it is an effective event. It's a cohesive event, right? So just having a strategy to kind of really finding the right vendors, finding the right venue, making sure that the logistics are all there. Having a strategy for that is extremely important. And I always say that, running an event is a really stressful job, and it's really, really hard. You spend days, weeks, if not months, really for that 1, 2, or 3 days. And I think sometimes just people lose track of making sure that all of those things are important, which is the hotel is important, accommodation is important, the vendor is important, the content, the speakers, the exhibitors, I can go on, it's a checklist of 100 things. But the one thing that's more important than all of them is to make sure that you also have a strategy to help measure and analyze event performance, because you'll have to run the same conference next year or a similar conference next year, and you want to always learn what did work and what didn't, right? So again, just having a strategy for that itself is going to be important as well. So I think for me, researching the target audience, having the right format, and a strategy to run a very cohesive and effective event, and a strategy to help measure, analyze event performance, I think they're critical to run any successful B2B event.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's such a great segue into the next question, which was something I was going to ask you earlier, because you brought up one of the mistakes which was failing to measure and analyze performance. So you cannot really avoid the topic of data when it comes to events, right? So talk to us about how how you believe B2B marketers can maximize opportunities before, during, and after events.
No, I think that's a brilliant question. See, for me,
Yeah.
again, data is critical component of a successful event marketing. So before the event, I would say it's really first of all identifying the target audience. Using data and analytics, B2B marketers should identify and target specific attendees who are most likely to engage with that event, with that brand, with that product or service for whom they're running that particular event for, right? So that's for me is a key. Then the next thing is once you have identified that target audience, you need to have a personalized outreach, kind of a strategy. Again, use data by leveraging the data. Marketers should prioritize and personalize their outreach to attendees and create more relevant and engaging messaging for them. And as a result of that, just again use the data to also optimize the event promotion. See, before the event, it's really about how can you target the right audience, reach out to them in a personalized manner, and and really kind of create the hype about that particular event, right? Because you always need those people to RSVP for the event. People need to know who else is coming, and hence that event promotion becomes the key. And using data, you can also figure it out which marketing medium is also working out for you. Now, during the event itself, it is about collecting data as much as you can, right? So first of all, it's about collecting the attendee data. Who are these people who are coming? Again, their contact details, because if you want to share it with other attendees who want to connect with them, or other exhibitors or sponsors who want to connect with them, you want to make sure that that's done properly. The other thing is, again, having a personalized attendee experience. Not everyone want to have a similar experience. If there are 1,000 people coming, they all have many times their different preferences of why they're coming over there. The ability for an attendee to have a personalized experience in a particular event, whether in person or virtual, is key. And again, by collecting data, marketers can personalize the event experience and create more relevant and engaging content and plan activities for those particular set of attendees. And the last one during the event is to keep on monitoring the event performance. Having a real-time data to monitor the event performance and make adjustments as needed is going to be critical to maximize engagement and to maximize ROI. So for me, that remains the key when you are running an event itself. After the event, it is crucial that you follow up with attendees. Again, use the data collected during the event and follow with attendees in a very personalized and relevant way. Create opportunities for them to still engage and still do that relationship building with other attendees and data or speakers or exhibitors that they were unable to again do that in that particular conference itself. Again, similarly, after the event, measure and analyze event performance. Go back, look at the data, see what happened during the event and before the event, and using that, again, create areas of improvement, identify those areas of improvement for yourself of how you're going to be a better planner for next year. And again, once you have done that, the same data will help you inform about the future event planning, create a strategy, and help your overall business optimize the event marketing planning and achieve better results as a result of that. So for me, I think just all of those things are just absolutely key.
Yeah, no, those are incredibly insightful. Thanks for sharing that. I had one question regarding the post-event initiatives, because I see this happen time and time again, and I'm sure you have as well, that the follow-up, that's I think where some of those bad habits are kicking in. Some companies are still choosing to use that old follow-up method, where it then transforms into something like a pitch slap, right? Where they're saying, thanks for attending the event, and then pitch, and then here's my link to my Calendly, and let's jump on a demo call. Have you seen any of that happening? And if yes, how do you think companies can get rid of this kind of bad habit?
I think people like companies still do that, but I will tell you like what successful event marketers are doing right now.
Okay.
I think they all now realize that everyone is bombarded with a cadence of emails, with a lot of cold calls, and with time it has been less about the quantity of this data. It's more about the quality of that data, and if you care about the quality of the data, you would also realize that those people also expect quality engagement from your side as well. So it's less about doing a mass generic email or mass generic follow-up. It has become a personalized email, a personalized touch. So it has to be that, oh, by the way, Younas, I saw that you came to this conference and you attended X, Y, and Z, but you were not able to attend A, B, and C. Here is that A, B, and C that you might still be benefit from. So it has to be at that level where you need to show it to your end customer that you know what they care about, and here is a very specific recommendation for them. Everyone now figure it out if it's a generic email, a generic follow-up, and people are just immune to that. And people will unsubscribe you, people will mark you as spam. And I think more and more people realize that, and they know that every single relationship that they're going to build matters. And I see that people are putting a lot more effort in trying to build that relationship now with their specific attendees.
Absolutely. All right. We get to the point in the conversation where we talk about actionable tips, and you have mentioned some of these points already, but let's appreciate that you can't do all of this in one day. But if somebody out there who's a B2B marketer were listening to this conversation that you and I are having, what are some of the things that you think they can do right now to successfully incorporate events into their B2B marketing strategy?
Yeah, I think for me, it is more like a checklist. And I know the way I would go about it is that, again, the very first thing is that describe or define your event objectives. Even before planning the event itself, define your company objectives, define your event objectives, and determine what you want to achieve. This will always help you stay focused and measure success. For me, that's number one. Define the event objectives. Once you have defined that, identify the target audience. Who is that target audience? What are their needs? What are their interests? And how you'll be able to engage with them given this event in mind. Once you've defined that target audience, keeping that audience in mind, select the right event format. Whether it's going to be in person or virtual or hybrid. What best define the objectives of that particular audience and the event objectives, and the result of that, what would be that right event format that would work out for them. Once you have defined that, then you have to plan for the event content. Defining that or developing that content strategy that aligned with the event objectives and the target audience will be extremely important. That might include presentations, that might be panel discussions, that might be a demo of a product, that might be some interactive activities. But you will need to kind of define what the event content would be. Always leverage technology. Use technology to create a more engaging and interactive event experience. Again, whether it's in person or a virtual event, live polling, Q&A sessions, breakout rooms, roundtables, they're all going to be key for you to maximize engagement between attendees. And people remember that having just one great conversation sometimes in a particular event sometimes justify the ROI for an attendee who might have traveled, a country, to attend that particular one, right? So try to see how they can have those aha moments, and technology will always help you do that. Promote your event. Again, have a multi-channel promotion strategy to kind of reach your target audience. Generate the buzz, collect the data, measure the success of that, and once the event is over, just remember that it's still not over. Follow up with your attendees. Follow up with them to keep continuing the conversation, nurture the relationship, because even after the event, a lot still goes on. And, you need to make sure that, I'm sure you would be tired, you need some time, but don't ignore the follow-up. Follow-up will get you sometimes the bigger result than the event itself. So make use of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are some great points. And I love the bit about leveraging technology because, as you said, going back to the case study examples that you highlighted, it can help to really move things along so much in such a way that was probably not possible like only a couple of years ago, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. We spoke about this a little bit. I mean, we've talked a lot about data. We talked about follow-up and so forth, but metrics. So what metrics do you think B2B marketers should be paying attention to, and why on the topic of events?
Yeah, see, I think the first and the most important one is just attendance. Again, you want to find out how many people registered for the event, how many of them attended your event. Attendance is an important metric for just to measure the success of any event to begin with. That's one. After attendance, you want to measure the engagement. It's one thing that someone actually came to your event, but it's another thing that, okay, what exactly they did in your event? How many sessions they attended? Did they engage in any networking conversations? Did they ask any questions? Did they participate in any poll? All of those engagement metrics are going to be really important, because you will see that based on these engagement metrics, that follow-up is going to be extremely important. Now, depending on the type of the event, how many leads have you generated? Or how many leads have your sponsors and exhibitors have generated? This is going to be the key for your event success, as well as for again, whoever is paying for that event. Whether it's sponsors or exhibitors or sometimes even attendees. Networking opportunities are also sometimes lead generated, where people can go back and follow up with those people for partnerships, anything else. So that's going to be important. After you have generated leads, it's one thing to generate leads, but really the quality of lead is determined by the conversion rate of that lead. I might have met only 5 people in a conference, but if I'm able to do business with all 5 of them, that's brilliant. That still might justify the ROI for me. Versus in another conference, I might have met 100 people, but if I'm unable to do business with any of them, for me, that's a failure, right? So again, measure the leads, but also measure the conversion rate. That typically requires you to follow up, immensely after the conference is over. You also want to find out, okay, what's the brand value of your conference? So again, monitor just the success of your conference, on social media, on any of the outside world. You want to see how much brand value your conference has got, and your speakers have got, and your exhibitors have got, and so forth. And in the end, you want to see the ROI. What was the cost per attendee? What was the cost per sponsor? How much money it took you to kind of run that conference, and how much money you have recovered, right? So just knowing that ROI, not just for yourself, of course, that's going to be the key, but for everyone who participated in it, whether it was an attendee, did they get their ROI? Sponsors, did they get their ROI? Exhibitors, did they get their ROI? Knowing and measuring success for each one of them is just going to be the key as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Moving on to the next question. Okay, now you need to get up on your soapbox. It's a status quo that you passionately disagree with, and why?
For me, I think it's mainly about that, regardless of how much you work hard, it's your luck that defines the success. And I just personally disagree with that. I feel that in anything that you do in life, and in anything that you do in an event, in many cases, you can really plan things to be successful if you just plan it the right way. Luck matters, and it matters in anything. But in many ways, I think nowadays we have just so much data, and we have so much success stories around us, that in many ways you can define your own path, and you can define your own journey, where if you follow that, and if you follow that with the right heart, and with the right amount of hard work, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve, right? So for me, I just believe that we should not give ourselves an excuse of us not achieving a certain KPI or a goal, or whatever it is, just by kind of throwing it on luck or something like that.
Absolutely. That's such a great answer. Totally agree with that. Younas, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your experience and expertise with the listeners. So please tell us a little about yourself and how people can get in touch with you. And we spoke a little bit before I hit the record button, and you are definitely somebody that has an international background, and you've worked in different parts of the world as well.
Yeah. So again, my name is Mohammed Younas. I live here in Toronto, Canada. I am the CEO and founder for vFairs.com. vFairs is an all-in-one event tech platform. We help hundreds and thousands of organizations run events of all scale, whether it's a small event, mid-size event, or large event. Our events have been of 50 people, 100 people, all the way up to 50,000 people, 100,000 people. Again, anyone who wants to connect with us, you can just go to vFairs.com. That's our website URL. It speaks about all the different use cases we serve, as well as again, we are a global organization. We have around 230 plus employees spread across 10 plus different countries. We serve companies across 100 plus different industries. We serve companies from 40 plus different countries. So wherever you are based, whether you're based in US or Canada, in the Middle East, APAC region, UK, Europe. We have team members and customers in all of those countries, so we can serve you locally as and when you need, and we can serve you both for your in-person events and virtual events and hybrid events. Again, I'm just an email away. My email address is Younas, which is Younas at vFairs.com. And again, if anyone wants to connect with us for anything, whether it's just a suggestion or how we can support you for your event, I'll be more than honored to do so.
Fantastic. Younas, once again, thank you so much for your time. Take care, stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Christian.
Okay, bye for now. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the B2B Marketers on a Mission podcast.